The something I always enjoy about you and Dick is somehow you always have beef with everyone online, just causing problems, fighting. And the world of comic books, I know nothing. I've never read a comic book. Like my friend groups growing up, nobody had comic books. It's like a blind spot of my whole childhood. And so I had a fun time watching you and Dick kind of tear down this comic that you guys have all been poking fun at online. Can you give us a background of what that was about?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. So one topic that comes up on our show a lot is this whole idea of woke marketing versus anti-woke marketing. So, the left started off and they're like, look, Skittles are gay now. Buy some gay Skittles. Now I go to Target, buy a bunch of gay. Okay, which is, we all know it's like a little obnoxious. It's like, yeah, okay. Do you guys really care about gay people? Or are you just trying to make money? Is this just marketing? Whatever. You can argue it up and down.
Sure.
But then we started getting into the anti-woke marketing where we now see, like, hey, did you hear Hershey's chocolate bars are gay? And then Daily Wire goes, buy our anti-woke chocolate bar, the only chocolate bar that doesn't have pronouns, bro. And it's like $50 for a chocolate bar. And we're like, this is the same grift. They're doing the same thing. They're just doing it in reverse. It's not marketing a product based on the quality of the product, as we should want to buy quality products, but instead, like, hey, if you buy this, you're winning an ideological political war against your enemies.
It's high school.
The official candy bar of the KKK.
Right. Like
it's high school all over again. It's high school. We've all got to wear the right brand. Dude.
Yeah. You all got to support
Jinko jeans.
Why did you
sit on that side of the room?
Yeah, finger on the pulse.
This bake sale supports the junior girls varsity, and if you don't buy this brownie, you basically hate our school. Yeah, it's that. Yeah. It's tribalism being entered into products, which is silly. And if you're an adult, you should just buy the best one you can get for your money. Yeah. You shouldn't really care. Did Bud Light put a gay person on the can? Okay, well, if you like drinking Bud Light, I don't know why you liked it to begin with. But that should not really influence your beer purchasing decision.
What does?
My argument.
What does and what should? Because I'll give you an example. Calories. I always bought the Dolphin Safe tuna. Now I don't think there's Dolphin Danger tuna anymore, but like back in the day, I guess there was. Yeah. But any product that says they'll donate to animals or something like that, I'll buy. But if it's like if Pringles is like 10% of your fucking money goes to a heroin addict, I'm switching to Lay's. Like I'm gonna speak with my dollar to some extent in this pseudo capitalistic market we're in.
Yeah, support does mean little to me. I was thinking about it. Yeah. Like when I was in high school, I was really into cycling. I had that. I rode like 250 miles a week, and I had the tight clothes and all the thing. And I was gay, so. If cycling is a super unpopular sport, it's way more popular to make fun of cycling than to actually ride your bike.
Fact check, true.
And so the rare company that like actually sponsored Lance Armstrong or whatever, Greg LeMond back at the time, I'd be like, all right, that's the freaking protein bar that I want to eat because they support my unpopular sport.
Yeah.
And in the opposite, I was into off-roading a lot in like my 30s, and companies that would like support shutting down off-road trails and keeping 4x4s out of the desert or whatever, I would boycott them because they're boycotting me. Like they're trying to shut down my hobby, so I'm not going to send my money to you. Yeah. So, I'm a little bit.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And I totally understand the idea of wanting to try and exist ethically under capitalism, as hard as that is, and with the interweaving web of child labor and whatever the hell else. The problem is when you are willing to accept what is clearly an inferior or overpriced product merely for the sake of making a political stance. Like if there's two chocolate bars, they each cost $1. One of them gives money to orphans, the other one gives money to Robot Hitler. I'd go, okay, I'll buy the orphan chocolate bar. I get it. Like that's an easy choice. The problem is when it's the $1 chocolate bar that maybe, I don't know, either is given a nickel to gay people or whatever, or the, again, $20 chocolate bar that, I don't know, is going to some guy at the Daily Wire.
$18 to Ben Shapiro.
Gives $18 to Ben Shapiro, and who's already a multimillionaire and doesn't need it. I'd go, you know what, I'm just going to buy the $1 chocolate bar. It's stupid for me to pay for something if I'm not going to get extra quality, and I'm buying it just to make a political statement. So the way that enters into comics is... there is a gentleman, a YouTuber named Eric July. You may be aware of him. He's a libertarian influencer, an African-American gentleman, large bodybuilder kind of guy. He works out. And he said, I'm going to make a comic book, right? Now, I have my own personal beefs with this guy. I don't like some of his politics. So I was naturally skeptical. I'm like, is this guy a writer? He's one of these guys who every day is making videos about the reason the Marvel movies suck is they're woke. And the reason that the comic books suck is they're woke. And the reason blah, 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 blah. And me as a writer, I go, that's part of the problem. It's not the entire problem. There's a lot of problems going on in entertainment right now. And a lot of guys have dialed it down to, if you just take the politics out, everything gets good. And I go, no, that's not the solution. There is some of that, but if that's all you can talk about, frankly, you have no business critiquing writing or media. Thank you. So this guy goes, I'm going to make a comic book. And I go, well, in my head, this guy's a big dummy who seems to, and of course he's promising, this is going to be a non-political comic. It's not going to have any politics in it. And, he works for The Blaze. He has contacts at Fox News. So you have Fox News puts out a huge news article. Anti-woke comic book will destroy the establishment or whatever else. And all his buddies on YouTube are making videos saying, they literally were making videos saying Marvel and DC are terrified. And I'm there going, guys, Marvel and DC do not give half of two shits about a libertarian influencer making an independent comic. Now, he raised a bunch of money because he's got a bunch of connections at The Blaze and whatever else. He raised, I think, $3 million. And the comic comes out, and I said, look, I've looked at the campaign, I've looked at the synopsis, I've looked at the existing art. I go, I can't imagine this comic's going to be good. And then I read it, I went, yeah, it sucks. It's a shitty comic. But of course, he's one of these guys who's got a huge following, and I'll go, no, this is the future of comics. DC and Marvel are running scared. We are going to take over entertainment. So meanwhile, I keep talking about this on the show with Dick, and I go, I've read the comic, it's terrible, and all these guys are gaslighting themselves, saying it's the future of comics. And he goes, you're just a hater. You just hate this guy because there's politics. I'm going to read it. I bet it's great. And then he read it, and he came back, and he's like, that is the worst fucking comic book I've ever read in my life. and did a very detailed review. He went through it. He gave classic Hollywood notes, because Dick is a guy who's worked in the Hollywood system. He's written scripts. He's got notes on his own scripts. He went, well, here's your problem. Okay, you don't have a 3-act structure. The main character has no motivation. There is no story hook. It's a superhero comic where you don't even understand who the character is or what powers he has. Again, this is all convoluted. We have the review on our channel. If you go to the Biggest Problem channel, you listen to his notes. And honestly, he gave what seemed like pretty fair notes. Was he harsh? Yeah, he was like, look, it's really not good.
He was unbelievably harsh.
He was very harsh. He didn't say I want to
Dick Masterson style.
We're a comedy podcast, okay? He's gonna give the review in a way that is funny but at the end of the day, it's not we wish harm on you and your children. It's, hey, this is a shitty comic.
Might be though.
And a lot no.
I saw him laugh at Boogie's butthole cancer. I mean, he was so happy.
That's different. That's different. I think Dick does genuinely wish harm on Boogie. That's the whole
right. I have a lot more. Okay, I'm with you now.
They have more history. There's more there. So he puts out this review, and now for the past 3 or maybe the past month, I guess, again, this huge fan base of anti-woke comic fans have been they're really mad at us that we reviewed his comic. And that we gave it a negative review. And we said, well, we just think it's bad. If he puts out a good one, we'll tell you. But in the meantime, we kind of think you guys are just throwing money. Again, he's a first-time writer, never written a comic in his life. That's not a good formula. It's not a good formula. You don't just knock it out of the park on your first try. We said, well, look, maybe it'll get better. Maybe the next one will be better. But right now, it kind of seems like you guys are just throwing money at this guy because you have this dream of winning this culture war. And
comic books seemed like a weird place to start. Like there's a lot of comics that are traditionally like super woke. The whole idea of the X-Men is about it's about AIDS.
Look at the name. It's about trans people.
It's about AIDS.
Don't tell Eric July that. He's one of these guys who will tell you, no, that's a myth. That's a myth the liberals invented about the X-Men. It was never about social justice. So that's the kind of guy we're talking about.
Well,
everyone knows it's lame to care about comic lore. It's cool to care about Lord of the Rings lore deeply, though.
Yeah, that 80s comic where they've all got something wrong with their blood and they need to be quarantined off and deemed to be lesser versions of humans and all this stuff.
I watched a clip of the review where Dick went on this guy's show, and I don't know anything about the Eric July character outside of what I see you and Dick talking about him. Yeah. And Dick is such a funny, over the top guy that you can sometimes forget that he's a really good writer. He knows his shit. And so he was like in that call with a bunch of people I'm not familiar with, like absolutely dominating with like, hey, I read this part right here. There's no motivation for this to happen. Also, this second panel, it doesn't line up with the first one. The wall shouldn't be in this position. There's this character. It seems like you're bothering this character more than is actually saving anyone. There's no established reason for him to care about this. Like he went to town with like, and it wasn't like obviously jokes, but a lot of it was simply like,
he has very real criticism.
This is poorly structured, and this story does not deliver anything. Is what his point was.
A really good example from his review is that at one point the main character, whose name is Isom, he's trying to find this missing girl, and he goes to meet with an old friend who ends up, is kind of like the kingpin character of this universe. He's an evil businessman guy, and the guy basically tells him, "I don't know where this girl is. You need to leave." And then this security guard, who kind of is like an older guy, you almost feel bad for the security guard. He's like an older guy. He's got like white dreads. He's like, "All right, sir, you're gonna have to leave." And the hero immediately punches him in the gut. And he does that thing. You ever play like the new Mortal Kombat games where there's like an X-ray and you see the bones snapping and there's blood everywhere? Yeah. And you're like, hold on. So he just got told politely by maybe a little firmly, like, "Sir, you're going to have to leave the premises." And the hero of the story responds by punching through the man's spleen. You're like, I thought he was the good guy. I don't understand.
Crippled the security man.
I crippled the security guard. We had another fan go and review it, and he's just like, he wrote it from the point of view of the security guards. He's like, these heroic security guards are trying to stop the dastardly villain known as Isom. And it really does kind of read like the hero is a genuinely terrible person. And I don't think he wrote it that way on purpose.
Some of the Dick critiques were like, I was sitting there listening and I'm like, oh, that's Dick was like, dude, this guy's just a plug-in for yourself. The only thing that upsets this character is being disrespected, because being respected is the only thing you care about. And I'm like, that was, he casually threw that in. Like that was like very, very funny.
Well, I think
I haven't read the comic, so who knows? I'm just thinking it could be brilliant.
The thing that drives Dick the most nuts is, again, this guy has a lot of friends in a lot of high places, and they're all nut hugging and telling everybody. They're telling, literally, YouTubers are saying this is the future of comics, right? Like they have made videos with that title, and you go, "Oh, okay. Well, what did you like about the comic?" And they'll say, "Well, I haven't read it yet." And you go, hold on 1 second. You have made multiple videos telling your viewers that Eric July's Rippaverse, he named it after himself, is the future of the comic world, that DC and Marvel are scared of this guy, and you didn't read the comic. Like, is that not ethically a little unsound to be pitching this to your viewers?
As the future of comics when you haven't read it yet?
It's like, what did you like about it? Oh, that's so much.
Well, it confirms my political biases in that way. That's
what it is. Right. Yes. They'll say that. They'll say, well, at least it's not woke. And you go, that's not, a lot of comics are not woke. That's not enough. You don't change the game. You don't establish this conservative parallel economy you're hoping for just by taking the politics out of the book. If anything, you ended up with, this book is so flat, you go, I wish you had put politics in it. I honestly wish it was the adventures of conservative man punching the liberals out, because there would have been something going on in it.
In the bottom left pane, is that the big bad security guard that had been taken down?
Well, no, that's the ultra security guard that he fights. He only fights security guards, who's also not that interesting.
All right, I got it now.
Dude, security guy
got removed. At some point, this guy got removed from some premises somewhere, and he has not let it go.
It's kind of crazy.
They kicked him out of an Applebee's in 1997, and he's just can't stand it.
Yeah, I'm a lot less interested in the hero's origin story than I am the author's origin story at this point.
Yeah.
Why does he hate security guards? What happened?
I want
Sir, the midnight release is tomorrow night. You have to leave. No, I'm staying all night. Like what?
Well, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Apparently it's not going to take down Marvel and DC. But you know what might? Super Killer, right?